This is the story about the big rocks. Stephen Covey on YouTube. I don't have any sound on this at this point in time. I'm doing a test to see how the video looks for an event we're having tomorrow. And so I'm trying to just set this up so that it's looks good as it can get. I'm just trying to adjust stuff a little bit. You can see it pretty good. All right. I'll describe it as we go. Stephen's basically saying now these little rocks are representative of all the little things that we have in our lives to do every day, every week, and every year. And so they're just the everyday, ordinary things that we've got to do, get done, brush our teeth, have breakfast, have lunch, all the stuff that maybe other people need for us to do for them and help them out with. And next to it, he's got another pot there. And it's got, outside it, some big rocks, various rocks. And so the job here is to get these big rocks into that pot. So right here you can see some other rocks. Some of these are, her vacation. And some of them are personal time, just personal time for herself. Some of it's exercise. So anyway, he's compelling her to see if she can fit those big rocks in now that she's got all the other rocks already in there. So she's going to move them around and do what she can to get it to fit. And the challenge is that all these big little rocks already in there, and if you wait to do the important things, the big rocks, after you've already done all the rest of the stuff, it might be that you don't have any time or space to put those things in. So this is a great video on YouTube of how to differentiate between the high priority things and everything else that's in your life that has to get done. And so she is doing the best she can to cram in the important stuff. This particular rock, I think, happens to be a major client, huge account, and they need to be responded to right away. Otherwise, she could lose their business. So now she's going to work a little harder here to get this rock in there. That's got to get fit into this container. And so that container is the amount of time that you've got to work with. You could say the container represents 168 hours in a week, or 1,440 minutes in a day. Or it could represent 8,760 hours in a year. But in the end, he's pointing out here some of these big rocks. She hadn't gotten in there her preparing and planning time, her setting goal time. She probably, I think, if I remember right, she hadn't got her vacation plugged in there. Now she's trying to get it in there, and he's going to tell her right here, yeah, if it don't fit, force it, hammer it, cram it. So the challenge she has is that there's several more rocks there that she hasn't gotten in yet. Big, important, high priority things to her. So what he's saying there is that basically, you haven't got this important thing in. This is time with your family. This other one's maybe a client. I can't remember exactly, but he's got about 8 or 9 big rocks. And so she's grabbing these things saying, oh, gosh, I got to get that in there. Doing the best she can to fit it all in. Now he's saying here, pointing out the various big rocks, and looking, so you can see about 4 or 5 huge rocks. They're not going to fit in there yet. They're her high priority items in her life. Now he's looking at this other bucket saying to her, you know what? You could come from this from a different angle. You could, he used the word paradigm. You could come from this from a different paradigm. And the paradigm being, use all the resources you have here. And she's saying, you know, it's okay then apparently to use this other bucket. And so what she's decided this time to do is to take all the big rocks, the important stuff, and put it in the container first. All the high priority things, everything, all the big rocks, all the high priority things, we're going to put them in first. In Ignite, we learned that we want to front load our mornings and front load our weeks with all the important stuff that we need to get done gets done before noon every day or before by Tuesday or Wednesday every week, so that we know that they got done and they were the top of the list, not the bottom of the list or the last thing. So basically at this point, she's happily figuring out that maybe this is another option. So she's cut all the big rocks in there. You can see the big rocks almost completely fill the bucket, but there's room for the rest of these little rocks, these other little things, but they're going to have to come in afterwards instead of ahead of time. So if you do all the other ancillary things first and you try to put your important high priority things on top of that or afterwards, it's probably not going to get done. But here, she's got all the big rocks in, and now she's filling up the container with the little rocks, the other little things that are not as important, and yet she's got the same amount of time to get it done in, whether it's a week or a year or a day. This illustration basically makes that point. Now, she's managed to get it all at least on the container, and she's going to mess around a little bit longer and try to fit it down there where it's fits flush on top. But the fact of the matter is that she didn't get every little rock in there. Maybe they don't need to be there. So he's congratulating her now to say, you know what? Congratulations. You've gotten all the big rocks in. You got the little rocks on top of it. And what have you learned? And here she's describing that what we've been talking about. Identify what your priorities are, and then make sure that stuff is a priority when it comes to your time and energy. And at the end of the day, if some of the little rocks don't get in, maybe they're just not enough of a priority where they don't need to be concerned about it. So anyway, that's the video. I got another one coming up here, but I'm just going to stop this now because we're done with it. Now I got to figure out how to stop it. See, it's going to play another one, and okay, I don't need to do that. Stop here.